Hello, this is Chris, ZL1CVD. Today I'd like to show you a new version of CatTouch for Yaesu transceivers. This is quite a major release. But first of all, what we've done is we've downloaded the new firmware from catmeters.com, and I put the file onto the SD card. This one here is set up as a CatTouch PRC138. I just wanted to show you how easy it was to update the firmware. So put the SD card in, it detects the new firmware, and straight away it will load it. Then it will restart. Okay, you notice that the screen on this particular one seems to be in reverse. The colours are all inverted, and that's because there were two different screens. Oh, you can see I'm not pressing right on the corners here. Checks the calibration for you, so it asks you to calibrate the screen. Okay, so you've got to press just right, not hard, not too light, and you've got to press in the right places. But we can see the colours are all inverted. Well, it doesn't stay like that. It's not how it's supposed to be. It's because there's been two different types of screens. One's called an IPS and the other was a TFT. So we just go into this screen here and we change that button, and we can see the colours are back again. So this is the new version of CatTouch for Yaesu transceivers, and let's have a quick look at what's new. Well, this is the signal history bar along here, and as we receive signals, they're now coming from this end. Before it used to just it would draw the signals going along like that, but now it comes from this end, a bit like an oscilloscope. And it shows clearly that the receive signals are in green, and if we were transmitting it would show the transmit signals in red, so you can get a bit of an idea. And the height of this here is relative to the signal, so you get a bit of an idea over time how busy the band has been or not, and I found that very handy. So you've got about 8 minutes from there, so it plots once a second the S meter on this line, and when you transmit, obviously if you've set to 20 watts or 100 watts, whatever, it will indicate that height as well relative to your output power. One of the big things that we've changed is now we can do direct frequency entry, which we've had for a little while, but we've added some other features to it. So we just tap on the frequency icon, and you'll see now that we've got a range of band buttons up here up the top. So we can enter our frequency in directly, and we can click VFO-A or VFO-B, and it will change the appropriate VFO that you clicked. But now what we can do is we can actually just press a band button, and it will whip straight away to that band. But not only that, if we hit a band button several times, it supports what we call Yaesu band stacking, which the radio does itself as well if you hit band on that several times, the same band. So the Yaesu transceivers remember the last three, I think it is, frequencies on a particular band, and they'll keep that in memory. So this is a handy way to get to band stacking. Okay, so let's go back and have a little bit more look around. We now have a USB where the mode is. We now have a mode pick list, so we can pick any one of the modes that we want. When you're finished, you just click back. This bit here, one of the things that used to annoy me was the volume or squelch. I like to listen to the airport, the local airport here, and squelch conditions changes all the time for FM. That's when I'm using it with the FT991A, so I've built that into it as well, so we can change not only the squelch level, we can change the RF gain level. This is the RF gain, and it changes. We can change squelch. We can turn the volume up, turn the squelch up if we want. It's quite a high signal, so we have to get that. And the other great thing is we can turn the moni, and the moni is the monitor, so when you're transmitting you hear yourself. So if you're ever transmitting and you hear yourself, that's the monitor going. Now on we'll have a look at the one beside. We've got two CatTouches here. This one here is connected to a FT991A. This one here is connected to an FT-DX10. So if we tap on the DX10, we've got the same features, but I programmed CatTouch so it's smart, and it will actually pick up different features if the radio supports it. We'll see that in a minute. So we've got a similar sort of pop-up if you tap on any one of these transmit screens down here, meters rather, or this, or this, you get this transmit screen coming up. Now, I haven't completed the full details of the screen yet, but what we do get, which I know is working, is the power, microphone gain, automatic microphone gain. Now this little thing here, this AMC, is a hidden Yaesu secret, I think. I read so many comments from people who have bought the FT710 or the FT-DX10 or the DX101 going, I can't get full power. And they have this wound all the way back down here. Well, that is actually cutting your microphone gain right back, so you need to really have that up quite high. The design of it is such, my understanding is, so that it cuts the background noise down, so so that you don't end up transmitting the background noise. So just remember that's AMC. So on this screen it's great because you can see them straight away. You can turn the voice processor off and on, and of course adjust the settings. Now I know these parts are working, and I haven't fully tested this part of the screen on every model of transceiver yet. So it's probably going to be working on a DX10 and a DX991A, but I'm not sure if it's working on the FT710 yet. There's a lot of background on there that needs looking at. But let's have a look at them. So we've got Vox. We can turn the Vox off and on, and we can change the Vox source. So Vox is voice operated transmit. So basically when if we've got it set to mic and I'm talking away here and Vox is turned on and it's quite sensitive, or that's the delay time, this is the level. If the level was high and I had a microphone connected, it would start transmitting. And anti-Vox is the amount of time. It's sort of like the background noise switching the Vox off. I'm sure there's better descriptions out there, but the key thing is you have a Vox source, either the microphone or data, and data is the data port on the back of the radios. So if you've got, say, an old TNC or something and you're going through the back of the transceiver, you would use the rear data port and set it to Vox, because your old TNC probably doesn't talk via CAT to turn the radio transmitter off and on. So that's where you would use Vox. Okay, so we have that off by default. Now SSB mod, this is SSB modulation, and on the transceiver you really need to read the Yaesu manual on this. I'm probably going to get the explanation wrong, but anyway, this is your modulation path. So if you think of Vox as like the audio derived PTT, this is for your this is for where the audio path is. So right now it's saying microphone, it's set up for the microphone. You can have that set for rear. Then we've got the data input or USB. And now this one here is one that also bites people. They say my computer booted up, and when it booted up, my transceiver started transmitting until the computer settled down. Well, that's because you've got set to RTS, which it should never be unless you're using a really old TNC controller or something like that. You should always have this set to DACI. But anyway, look those up in the Yaesu menu for more details. Now, the rear, this is the level, the audio level output and the audio level input for the rear data port. That's the settings for those two there. Now, as I say, I haven't tested 100% these, so there will be some things that need fixing up, I'm sure. But anyway, I'm basically getting ready for everything. Okay, we've got more going on here. We've got, let me just have a look here. I've got to try and remember. Okay, we've got a DSP pop-up here, so if we tap on there, we can adjust the shift, the width, the contour, and these are all to do with contour. These are hidden menu items. You can set the contour width and the contour gain when you have contour enabled. You can either be cutting or you can be boosting. Now this is another screen that needs a lot more setting up. You can also from my end at the back end of the transceiver. So some of these items won't work, but as I say, I'll be working on it, because this version 2.56 firmware is if you like, a major interim release. Okay, so that's the DSP screen there. Okay, what else can I tell you about it? Those are the major things that have gone on. I hope you find those pop-ups a lot easier. When you download the firmware, there's a complete list. It's actually been 3 or 4 months of hard yakka in this. That's why some things are working and some things aren't. I've also changed the responsiveness of the VFO. It's now a lot faster, so if we can probably see that if I zoom back out, this is going to be interesting. We'll zoom back out, and no, yep, locks off. There we go. You can see I'm turning it here. If you've, it's very hard to show you, but as I'm turning up here, you should see the CatTouch down below. It's very fast updating now. It's not like it was before. I've looked at what's been called and how it's been called, and I focus primarily on updating the meters so that we get more real-time action happening on the meters, because we want to see what's going on with our transmit meters and receive meters, and also the VFO changing, so that it can be more of a remote control device as opposed to just a monitoring device. Anyway, I hope you enjoy this new firmware update, and as always, please let me know if you find a bug, and I'll endeavour to fix it as soon as possible. Thank you very much for your support, and please subscribe and like this video. Thank you.